Welcome back. Today we are looking at a script for a YouTube video. Be ready. Something is on its way to you by Solace Fox. It's essentially a spiritual monologue about that restless feeling you get during life transitions, framing it as prep work for a breakthrough.
Right. The classic dark night of the soul, but with a hopeful spin. I'm ready to dive in.
Okay, let's get right into it. First thing, and it's a big one, is structural. The script currently suffers from some thematic looping right in the middle, and it creates the circular experience instead of a linear one.
A roundabout instead of a climb.
Exactly. The piece starts really strong. That hook about the strange electric hum, it grabs you.
Yeah.
But then it gets a little stuck. The script lists symptoms of this transition. Losing interest, cleaning closets, relationships fading. And the issue isn't the symptoms themselves. It's that it just keeps coming back to them without ever, raising the stakes.
I felt that. It was like the author didn't trust that we got the point, so they just made it again in slightly different words.
Yes.
Like early on, there's that line about rearranging furniture before a major delivery. It's visual, it works.
It's a great metaphor.
But then, a couple minutes later, we're getting a whole section on the sudden urge to clear out your closet.
Right. And as a listener, I'm thinking, wait, are we still cleaning? We've just moved to a different room. There's no forward momentum.
And it happens with the social stuff, too. It mentions being in a hallway between rooms where conversations feel hollow.
Which is a powerful image.
Super powerful. But then later, we're back to that same feeling, just described as feeling like an outsider with friends. So it's the same beat. It kills the pacing.
It really does. So the fix here isn't just about cutting things. It's about reorganizing. The suggestion is to take these symptoms and arrange them into a clear hierarchy, a progression.
Okay.
We need to move from, say, the physical to the relational, and then finally to the existential.
So you're turning a list into a story.
You're turning a laundry list into a deepening crisis, which is much more compelling.
I like that. So it becomes a journey of realization. Where would you start?
You start with the body, the physical environment. That's your base layer. So group all the physical manifestations right at the top. The script mentions restlessness at 3 a.m. and that urge to clear out the closet.
Put them together.
Put them together, right up front. These are the first signs, the canaries in the coal mine.
That makes total sense. That's how it happens in real life, right? You don't start with the existential crisis. You start with not being able to sleep.
The body knows first.
Precisely. So once you've set up that physical unease, then you escalate to the relational disconnects.
Okay, so that's the middle.
That's the middle. You take that line about a friendship suddenly feeling strained and you group it with the conversations feeling hollow. Now the problem is bigger. It's not just in your house anymore, it's affecting your connections to other people.
And that raises the stakes. I can't sleep is a personal problem. I can't connect with my best friend anymore. That's a whole other level of crisis. It's a clear escalation. And then, for the climax of the problem section, you hit them with the internal crisis, the existential dread.
So this is where you put the heavy stuff.
This is where you put building the plane while flying, the loss of old coping mechanism. It all goes right here just before you pivot to the solution.
So you build the tension to its absolute peak.
You create a peak of tension that makes the relief of the solution feel truly earned.
It really changes the whole texture. It goes from, here are some random things happening, to your life is systematically dismantling itself from the outside in.
That's a great way to put it.
Quick question, though. The script as it is, it kind of sprinkles in these little reassurances, like this isn't depression or this is normal. If we stack all the problems together like you're suggesting, does it risk getting too bleak for the listener?
It's a fair question, but I'd argue those little reassurances are actually killing the tension right now. My suggestion would be to cut them from the middle. If you keep stopping the story to say it's okay, you deflate the very pressure you're trying to build.
Okay.
Or, if you feel you really need them, create a separate, dedicated block. A common misconception section. Handle all those objections at once. Then get back to the story.
Don't let the hand-holding dilute the crisis.
Exactly. You have to let the listener feel the discomfort. That's what makes the breakthrough so satisfying.
Yeah, you're right. If you comfort them too early, why would they stick around for the solution?
Okay, so once the structure is solid, there's another, more stylistic issue. The text relies really heavily on these ethereal metaphors. And while they're poetic, they can risk alienating listeners who need something more concrete to hold on to.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. I circled words like frequency, alignment, invisible architecture, magnetic north.
It's all very beautiful, but it's
Floaty.
It's very floaty. It sets a mood, but it doesn't give you a grip. The script tells you you are building a plane while flying it, but it never tells you what the rivets or the wrench look like on a Tuesday afternoon.
It's the difference between a poem about hunger and your stomach actually growling.
Yes.
There's that line that says, real transformation rarely introduces itself wrapped in golden light. It starts with disruption. And I thought, great, here we go. But then the examples of disruption are still kind of generic. A strained friendship, a job that's become unbearable.
They're still categories of things. They aren't things.
Exactly. I kept asking myself, what does tuning to a new frequency actually look like at a dinner party or in a boring staff meeting? What does it feel like?
That's the missing piece. The suggestion here is to anchor these high-level spiritual concepts with specific, sensory, mundane detail.
The grittier the better.
The more spiritual the idea, the grittier the example needs to be, because relatability lives in the specific.
The fallow season metaphor is a good attempt at that, but I mean, unless your listener is a farmer, it still feels a little romantic.
Right. A fallow season in a script sounds peaceful. In reality, a fallow season for a person today is staring at your ceiling on a Friday night because you just can't bring yourself to go out.
Or that awkward silence when you say no to an invitation you know you're supposed to say yes to.
That's it. It's boredom, it's anxiety. It's not a peaceful, resting feel.
So let's talk specifics. How do we ground these concepts?
Okay, let's take doors closing. The script uses that phrase, but it's a cliché. Instead of the abstract idea, describe the specific, physical sting of a rejection email popping up on your phone. The little notification banner.
Oof, yeah.
Or the awkwardness of a first date with zero chemistry.
Yes, where you're both just watching the ice melt in your water glass. That is a door closing. It's uncomfortable, it's specific, and everyone has felt that.
And here's another one. Opportunities will present themselves. That sounds like magic.
Like a divine intervention.
We need to make it mundane. It's usually not a beam of light from the heaven. It's a chance encounter in the grocery store line. It's a book falling off a shelf.
A typo in a search bar that leads you down a rabbit hole.
Exactly. Small, gritty, accidental detail. It makes the magic feel more accessible.
If alignment just looks like running into an old friend, well, I can look for that. I can believe in that.
Right. Now, what about the grocery bags metaphor? I think it's strong.
Where you're holding too much to receive anything new?
It's a good image, but we can make it visceral. Right now, it's just a visual.
So make it physical.
Make it physical. Describe the actual sensation of the plastic handles cutting into your finger, the white knuckle, the circulation getting cut off. Make the pain of holding on a real physical sensation for the listener.
Then the relief of dropping them becomes a physical release too, not just an idea.
Exactly. It connects the emotional to the physical. What about the frequencies? That's the hardest to grasp.
It's the most abstract for sure.
The script says, people will reflect your new frequency. That means nothing to me, practically. So we translate frequency into dialogue.
Ah, okay.
Describe the specific change in conversation. Maybe you notice your friends are all gossiping, and you suddenly find yourself wanting to talk about ideas instead.
Or they're all complaining about something, and you realize you're trying to figure out how to solve it.
Yes. Don't just tell me the vibe change. Show me the words that are being spoken. That's how you ground the woo-woo.
Okay, so that brings us to the final piece, I think. We fixed the structure, we've grounded the metaphors, but what's the call to action?
Right, and there's a problem there. The current call to action, to wait and not force and remain open, it risks encouraging passivity. It needs to be reframed as an active state of curation, something that empowers the listener.
It's mostly negative advice. Don't rush, don't force, don't manufacture enthusiasm.
Exactly. It's all subtractive, which might be correct, but it can leave the listener feeling like their only job is to sit on their hands and wait for the universe to do something.
Which for a type A person or anyone with anxiety is basically torture. I highlighted this line, your only job right now is to not fill the space. Being told to do nothing can make you feel completely helpless.
It frames this in-between period as a waiting room. We need to frame it as a workshop.
Oh, I love that distinction. A waiting room is where things happen to you. A workshop is where you prepare.
So the suggestion is to shift the language from waiting to active preparation or protective curation. That emptiness isn't a void to be endured. It's a boundary to be actively defended.
Like standing guard.
You are standing guard over your empty space with a spear. It's an active posture.
That goes back to the farmer metaphor. Farmers don't just stare at a fallow field. They're fixing fences. They're sharpening tools. They're analyzing soil samples.
There is plenty of work to do that isn't planned, so let's give the listener some of that work. For example, Instead of don't force connection, rephrase it to actively audit your energy.
Audit, that's a great word. It sounds intentional.
It is. Suggest they keep a log. Which interactions drain you? Which ones sustain you? It's an active task. It gives that anxious part of the brain a job.
It turns the withdrawal into a research project. That's really smart.
And another one. Instead of don't panic when joy feels flat, change it to investigate the flat.
Become a detective.
Yes. Encourage the listener to ask why that old joy is gone. Turn the apathy into a data point, a clue to be solved, not just a condition to be suffered.
That puts them back in the driver's seat. They're an observer of their psyche, not a victim of it.
And what about when the old coping mechanisms shut down? The scripture says it happens. We need to give them an instruction. What do you do with that raw feeling that's left over? Suggest specific grounding techniques, breathing exercise. Give them a new tool when the old one breaks.
That's crucial. You can't just take away someone's crutch, the endless scrolling, the overworking, and just leave them wobbling there.
You have to hand them a walking stick. And finally, let's bring it back to the closet. We talked about moving the cleaning to the beginning for structural reasons, but we could also reframe it.
How so?
When the script mentions that sudden urge to clear out your closet, frame it as a ritual. It's not just cleaning, it's making space. Give the listener permission to treat that physical decluttering as a spiritual act, an act of summoning the new.
So, as you throw out this old shirt, you are consciously letting go of the person you were when you wore it.
Exactly. It ties it all together. You're using a gritty, real-world action to solve a structural problem, and you're framing it as an active step on the journey.
It really does thread the needle on all 3 points.
So, to recap the battle plan here, we've got 3 major areas for improvement that will really elevate this script. First, structure. We're reorganizing the symptoms into a clear progression. Physical, then relational, then existential. We're building a staircase, not a roundabout.
So the listener feels that pressure build, and the release feels earned.
Second, grounding the metaphor. We're trading abstract concepts for the gritty, visceral feeling of grocery bags cutting into your fingers. We're making the spiritual tangible.
If they can't see it in their own life, they will believe it in their soul.
And third, the call to action. We're transforming passive waiting into active curation. We're turning that waiting room into a workshop.
And I just want to add for the author, the core message is powerful. The intuition behind this piece is absolutely right. Trusting the transition is the message we need. These edits aren't about changing the message. They're about clearing the static so that message can be truly heard. The skeleton is strong. We're just putting some real muscle on it.
Well said. So, Solace Fox and anyone else listening who's wrestling with these big topics, take these ideas, tear your script apart, and build it back stronger. Then send it back to us. We'd love to see version 2. That's it for this critique. Now get back to work.